It's been over a year since the last time I vlogged, and I really want to come on here to basically tell you where I've been, what's been going on, why I haven't been vlogging. To be very honest, life has been a roller coaster, just like anybody else's life. Like, life is just a roller coaster. It's ups, downs, good days, bad days, mental health, good days, bad days, my depression, good days, bad days. I might be looking down a little bit because I did write notes, just because I am nervous recording this video. Not that I'm nervous about what people will think, but nervous of me missing important topics I want to talk about, or coming across wrong, not relaying the message the way I want to. Long story short, I've been psyching myself out of vlogging. It's been a really rough year for myself, my mental health, and I've been having a rough year with Ryder. To be very transparent, you know, when you have a kid, people say it gets easier as your kid gets older, and it has not for me. It's been getting harder as Ryder gets older, and if I don't put it in the title, basically Ryder was diagnosed with autism. He was actually diagnosed just recently in January, about mid-January. The reason why I have been psyching myself out to vlog is because I have been so fearful of judgment, and top of that, anxiety of even leaving the house. My life has become very boring because I had a lot of anxiety leaving the house, because I was fearful of judgment. People just like, okay, well, you know, your toddler's not meeting his development milestones as compared to other kids his age. He's not talking or behaving like other kids his age. And you know, when your child falls behind in their development, I don't know about other parents, but for me, I was in my head a lot about that. I was just like, okay, well, you're a bad mom, you're not doing enough because your child's not meeting his milestones. And with his diagnosis, it all just makes so much more sense why I'm having such a hard time, why Ryder's just not meeting his milestones the way he should be. With neurotypical kids, or babies in general, from the moment that you're born, neurotypical kids, they learn and grow by observing people and objects. But with children who are on the spectrum, their interests are very limited. They're only interested in what they're interested in, and that was my struggle with Ryder. If it's not his interest, he does not want to do it. I did do a video on my main channel talking about my ADHD and also Ryder's development. He does have speech delay. He just turned 4 at the end of January, and so he just still does have speech delay. I mean, I can't hold a whole conversation with him. It's just very to the point of what he wants as far as our communication, which, you know, usually by 3 years old you can have a whole conversation back and forth with your child. But with Ryder, it was just never like that. Just to the point, using his words of what he wants, and that's about it. When I did do that video about Ryder's development, I was explaining, like, you know, the doctors don't really have any concerns. And I think what it was is that it was pretty much just us, Ryder's dad and I, Mark and I, in denial about his autism. Mark and I do know people with autism, and I think the biggest misconception that we had, I can't really speak for Mark because he's not here, but the biggest misconception that I had with autism, I was more so familiar with people on the spectrum who are stimulant sensitive. They get overly stimulated easily. I was very familiar with the verbal stimming, the hand flapping, the tiptoe walking, body rocking back and forth. That was a stimming that I was familiar with, and so Ryder didn't do any of that. And Ryder is a sensory seeker. He loves...
Where'd he go?
Velociraptor Blue?
Where'd he go?
Oh, let's see. Where'd he go?
Hey, you have to watch it. Where'd he go?
All right, Ryder's in his tent looking for dinosaurs. Forgot where it was, but I was talking about Ryder's sensory seeking. So Ryder's stimming looks a lot different, and again, I was having a hard time with Ryder, so I was looking up different autism signs, and I was pulling up podcasts and YouTube videos and TikTok just to try to figure out what's going on because I was having such a hard time with him. There's a few things that he did that was just a little bit different. Again, Ryder did not walk on his tippy toes. He hand flaps every once in a while when he gets really excited. Like if he goes, and he loves playing with water. He will play with water all day, every day if I let him. So if he goes and like throws something in the water and makes a big splash, he'll flap his hands. He doesn't do it all the time. He only does it when he's really excited or just really happy. One of the things I was in denial about as well was his eye contact. When I first initially did his phone interview around 2 years old, they did ask about eye contact. I'm like, well, yeah, he does make eye contact with me, but I think looking back to it, like, yeah, he does make eye contact with me, but does he hold it? No. And the more people he started going around after, you know, COVID was calming down a little bit, he wasn't making eye contact with people. And if he did, he would not hold it whatsoever. And a few signs I actually learned were actually signs of autism as well, was hand leading. Now, because of his speech delay, I just thought it was a speech delay thing because he couldn't get his words out. But hand leading is a huge thing with kids with autism or people on the spectrum. He was grabbing my hand and taking me to what he wants, or he would literally just want me to prop him up on the counter so he can pick out whatever he wanted out of the pantry. And this boy will spin all day, every day, especially when he's happy, he's in a good mood. He will spin, 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 and he gets so upset if the dogs are in his way, because when he spins, our puppy thinks it's playtime, and he gets so mad at her when she gets in the way while he's spinning. Also, another thing I learned was a sign of children on the spectrum was that Ryder does not sit still whatsoever. He is a busy body. He's just zoom, 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 zoom. He will not sit down for, you know, if I wanted to show him something, he won't sit down. If it's meal time, he will not sit down. He will graze his food. He does not like sitting still whatsoever. And the only time he will sit still is if it's something new and fascinating to him, or if it's bedtime. And sleep is really difficult. It's still really difficult. Per his doctor's orders, I started giving him melatonin, not every day, and it's only 1 milligram of melatonin. It just helps calm him down enough to actually go to sleep during bedtime. It doesn't knock him out or anything like that. If, you know, I give him the melatonin, he won't pass out anywhere. He'll just be up around the house just chilling if I don't actually put him to bed. So melatonin just helps enough to calm him down. So when we do our bed routine, I have to time it perfectly to where when the melatonin actually hits his system and I lay him in bed, he falls asleep. Because if I give him the melatonin too early and it's in his system, he won't go to sleep. Also, that was one of the reasons why I just wasn't really vlogging that much. It was because, again, fear of judgment, because I had such a hard time getting, I still do, honestly, to be transparent, I have a hard time getting him down to a normal sleep schedule, because some days he just does not want to go to sleep. He will be up super late. Over the weekend on Saturday, for example, Mark wasn't home, so I had to go take Ryder and our dogs out for our midday walk. Ryder fell asleep in the stroller, and I'm like, okay, well, no big deal, I will wake him up. I woke him up. He probably slept for about 45 minutes. I woke him up. He was up until 3 in the morning. 3 in the morning. The next day, I was like, okay, I'm not doing this again. Mark was home, so I was like, I'm not taking Ryder on this walk. I refuse to let him go to sleep because I do not want to repeat of yesterday. And what happened? No nap, and he was up till 2 in the morning. So that was another reason why I stopped vlogging, is because honestly, when you have a child on the spectrum, it's hard getting alone time. Vlogging is easy. Editing is the hard part, because he just needs my attention all the time. And with Ryder's sleep schedule, I try to make it consistent, but there's just some days where I just cannot keep a consistent schedule, whether it's, you know, us trying to potty train, or he doesn't want to eat dinner that night, so I'm fighting with him for 2 hours to try to get him to eat his dinner before he gets a bath. Or there's just some days where I get his bath ready and he just does not want to take a bath. He's fighting, crying, tantrums, so it's difficult. I keep getting interrupted. Now tantrums, I want to touch on that a little bit, and looking back it just makes more sense. He was starting to have public tantrums, eloping a lot. If you don't know what eloping is, it's basically just running away. That little boy, he's a runner, he's a track star. He will run away within a second if I let go of his hands. I was hoping that would get better, but honestly it is not. He still would run away. We do practice quite regularly at the grocery store, where I do set boundaries at the grocery stores. He has to hold on to the cart. I'll let him let go of the cart, but if he starts running away, the rule is like, okay, one and dine. If you run away, you have to sit in the cart. So that's our way of practicing with running away and eloping, just because, you know, it's dangerous. Him running off is very dangerous, and when we're out where we live, there's a lot of, you know, cars, so I don't let him walk freely. Looking back at our trip at Disneyland, it makes sense why I was having such a hard time. And I was having a hard time with him when the lines would slow down or the lines would just stop. He was crying, tantrums, jumping up and down, just wanted to get the heck out of that line. For lines that did move fast, he was okay. I mean, he didn't do great, but he did okay. You know, from my understanding is that there are some children who are on the spectrum who do have a really hard time with long lines and staying in line. Okay, so this part is a little controversial, and I feel like I know where my boundaries are and what I will allow him to do and won't allow him to do. Now, we are going to get into behavioral therapy. We got the process started. It does take a little while because he was diagnosed just in January, and everything just takes forever to get approved. We are going to do behavioral therapy. My main goal is to help with behavior when he gets upset, basically. Now with Ryder, he does have a really hard time transitioning between tasks. So let's say if he's playing with his dinosaurs and I'm like, okay Ryder, it's time to get ready for bed and brush his teeth. He has a really hard time transitioning tasks from something he's interested in to something that I need him to do, which is brush his teeth or take a bath or, you know, anything like that. Some days are harder than others, and some days he's having such a hard time where, you know, there's self-harm. He's, you know, trying to harm me, and that's the main concern with behavior therapy, because I want him to excel in school. And in order to do that, you know, a lot of transitions are going to happen in school, and I want him to get in behavior therapy to help with that. 100% I allow Ryder to STEM, so that is not going to be a thing that we're going to correct, because STEMing is important for people on the spectrum to help self-regulate. So if he's happy, he's gonna STEM. There's no problem with him STEMing whatsoever. I just want to help him with transitional tasks and not have that self-harming tantrum process. And that's really it with his behavioral therapy. And we did start occupational therapy as well. He doesn't really need it. The only thing he will need help with is sitting still to eat meals, and also doesn't show interest and has a hard time, you know, getting dressed and all the daily self-care tasks, brushing hair, teeth, etc. We have a hard time with that, and that's also one of the symptoms with his autism that I was noticing, like, well, maybe, you know, maybe this is autism because this is not normal. He hates brushing his teeth. He hates washing his hair. Every single time it's a screaming fest washing his hair. He does not like his hair touched. He hates water in his face, even though he loves water. If it gets in his eyes, he's done. He hates it. So he hates hair washing. I'm like, okay, this is not normal. you know, to have this type of reaction to hair washing and, you know, cleaning his ears. He always hated his ears cleaned and his nose clean. Even though Ryder was diagnosed, it doesn't bother me whatsoever. There was no grieving process. There was no sadness. I think it was because always in the back of my mind, it was always a thought since, you know, he started getting evaluated around 2 years. I want to say it was like 18 months or 2 years. I can't quite remember. But it was always in the back of my mind and me like, well, no, he doesn't really do that, but he does do this. So I think I was just looking for those very textbook autism signs that I was familiar with, not knowing that there was other symptoms that I just didn't know about. And if anything, I feel like his diagnosis maybe just be more patient with him, and also just show myself more grace, because I was really I've been so hard on myself about this, just thinking like I wasn't doing enough, when in reality I was doing everything I can. When I talked to therapists, when I talked to doctors, they was like, no, that's actually really good, you've been doing that. And you know, with his speech delay, I taught him sign language to make things easier. You know, going to doctors, I, you know, play a lot of YouTube videos to help make it easier. And also with dentists, I show them dentist videos to help make it easier. So I try to do little things to make things easier. You know, we still practice our self-care, we still practice potty training, and I just don't give up. I slowly ease Ryder into things instead of just full force, like we're doing this all or nothing. But Ryder gets very impatient, and it taught me I need to be patient in order to slowly teach him things, because he doesn't like being thrown into new things. I thought you broke my camera. Can you say, I'm Ryder?
I'm Ryder.
Yeah, you're Ryder. Who am I?
You.
I'm Mommy. You're Ryder. Who is that? What is that?
Blue Tang.
Blue Tang. He knows all about his fishies and sharks, and that's his favorite, Blue Tang. Cheese.
Cheese.
Hi, Blue Tang.
Blue Tang.
You Blue Tang right here. That's the lens. Right there. Blue Tang.
Blue Tang.
Even though Ryder is loud and has his meltdowns and tantrums, he is still the coolest kid in my eyes. He's so sweet. He is so loving and full of joy. And I feel like Ryder's just Ryder. Even with his diagnosis, like, nothing changed. And I think that's why I never grieved. Nothing changed. Anyways, I don't know exactly how long I've been rambling for, because I had to cut off the camera multiple times. But if you guys have any questions, let me know. I'm pretty much an open book. That's really one of the reasons why I wanted to vlog, is because I don't really have any friends, and I'm always just like a very honest person. I'm pretty much an open... What is in my hair? There's something in my hair. Oh my god, did I have something in my hair the whole time? The whole time? I don't know what that is. Where did I get food in my hair? This whole time I had food in my hair, I think. It's all new, to be honest. We haven't even really started therapy other than occupational therapy, and we're still in the introductory phase. So I just want to say thank you so much for watching, talking about this little love bug of mine. It's always going to be a journey. I'm very confident that everything's fine. I mean, everything's fine. There was no grieving process. I was never sad, and that was because I always kind of felt like in the back of my head, but just in denial. So with that being said, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next vlog. Bye. Say bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
See you real soon. Say see you real soon.
See you soon.